Friction. Advantages and disadvantages of friction. We have learned about the friction. Friction is a force that arises when two surfaces come in contact. Friction is both advantageous and disadvantageous to us. On one hand, it helps us to do many things, while on the other hand, it opposes the happening of many things. Let's start with the advantages of friction. Friction enables us to walk comfortably. We slip when we walk on a smooth and oily or greasy surface. However, it is easier and comfortable to walk on a rough surface such as ground or road. It is the friction between the ground and our feet. Friction enables us to drive vehicles. The friction between tires and road provides a grip to vehicles on road. This enables us to drive vehicles on the roads. Friction enables us to write. Similarly, chalk particles break down and stick on the blackboard due to friction with the blackboard surface. However, one finds it difficult to write on a glossy paper because it offers much less friction to the ink. Friction enables us to light a matchstick. Surface of a matchbox is made dotted. It is because a matchstick is lit only when we rub it on a rough surface. It is the friction provided by the rough surface which enables us to light a matchstick. Let's see some disadvantages of friction. Friction produces unnecessary heat. When two surfaces rub against each other, they generate heat because of friction. For example, if you rub the palm of your hands, they become warm. Similarly, various parts of machines produce unwanted heat due to friction. The amount of unwanted heat produced sometimes increases so much that it can damage the machine. Due to this, when operated for a long time, the outer surfaces of washing machines, fans, refrigerators, mixer, and grinders become warm. Friction changes shape of some objects. The iron wheel used as a pulley in a well to pull the bucket using a rope develops a ring-shaped crater on its surface. It is caused because of friction between the rope and iron wheel. Mouse of a computer works because of friction between the ball and the mat over which it moves. Is it possible to minimize the friction? Let's learn more about it. Increasing or reducing friction. We have seen that friction is advantageous in some situations and disadvantageous in others. We must change the design of the object in order to increase or reduce the friction. Let us first know some daily life methods of increasing friction to our advantage. The soles of our footwear are provided with spikes, which increase the friction between ground and footwear and provide a better grip on the ground. This is the reason that sportsmen wear spiked shoes. The tires of vehicles are used to increase friction between them and the road surface to provide better grip to tires on road. The rubber pads are used in brake systems of vehicles as they provide more friction to a rotating wheel. The moment we apply brakes, the rubber pads grip the wheel to stop its rotation. Now let's see the methods of reducing friction to our advantage. Grease and machine oils are used to reduce friction between moving parts of machines. Any non-sticky material used to reduce friction is called a lubricant. Lubricants are slippery materials. Talcum powder is used on a carom board surface to reduce friction in moving coins and striker. When one body rolls over the surface of another body, the resistance to its motion is called the rolling friction. That is why skateboarders enjoy their rides. The rolling friction is smaller than the sliding friction. Sliding is replaced in most machines by rolling by the use of ball bearings. We have seen the friction with various objects. But what about the birds or aeroplanes? Do they feel any friction? Fluid friction. Birds and aeroplanes fly in the sky. They do not touch a surface while moving through the air. Similarly, objects moving in water like fishes, ships, boats, etc. do not touch any solid surface. Thus, objects moving through air or water do not encounter frictions like static, sliding, or rolling friction. But air and water themselves exert friction on the objects which move through them. In science, liquid and gaseous mediums are commonly referred as fluids. That is, fluids are mediums that can flow. The friction offered by a fluid to an object moving through it is called fluid friction. The force one needs to apply to overcome a fluid friction is called a fluid friction force. This is also known as drag. Let's see the factors affecting fluid friction. Look at the two moving vehicles. Car will experience more air friction than that of cycle. High-speed moving object faces more fluid friction than a slow-moving object. Fluid friction can be reduced by appropriately designing the shape of an object. Thick and viscous liquids like oils, Vaseline, etc. offer more friction to an object moving through them than lighter liquids like water. Summary. Let us summarize what we have learned. Friction is both advantageous and disadvantageous to us. Increase or decrease of friction to our advantage is possible. The rolling friction is smaller than the sliding friction. Objects moving through air or water do not encounter frictions like static, sliding, or rolling friction. The friction offered by a fluid to an object moving through it is called fluid friction. High-speed moving object faces more fluid friction than a slow-moving object. Fluid friction can be reduced by appropriately designing the shape of an object. Thick and viscous liquids offer more friction to an object than lighter liquids like water.